And welcome to another episode of Experts Speak. I am Michael DeLon. Today I am talking with Jonathan Hawkins. Jonathan, thanks for spending some time with me today.
Michael, thanks for having me.
You are welcome, man. It's going to be a fun conversation. Jonathan is he's a client of ours. He is the founder of law firm GC. He's known as the law firm lawyer, best-selling author of the Law Firm Life Cycle, which we're going to be talking about here in just a minute. He's also the host of a podcast called the Founding Partner Podcast. And what we're talking about today, Jonathan, is understanding the law firm life cycle, which is the title of your book, and the way that you really approach your practice in helping other attorneys with running a law firm. So as we dive into this topic, tell me, how in the world did you get doing what you're doing today?
It's kind of a cool story. So, I was a business divorce lawyer. So I helped closely held businesses of all types
Mm-hmm.
sort of separate.
Okay.
And my dad, who was a retired lawyer in my hometown, we used to talk shop, and he, in a town that's probably a tenth the size of Atlanta, he had handled, I think, maybe like 5 law firm breakups in the span of 2 or 3 years. And he said, Jonathan, you're already doing these breakups. You should look and see if there's anybody in Atlanta that sort of handles the law firm breakups. And so I was like, that's a good idea. So I looked around, and sure enough, we have a local daily legal newspaper, and these things were happening all over the place. But I could not find anybody who had sort of planted a flag and said, I'm the go-to lawyer for these.
Yeah.
And so that was the kernel. That was the seed of what has become this practice. We represent that part of the law firm sort of cycle, but we also
Right.
represent sort of other parts as well. But that was the seed that led
That's
me down
very
this
cool.
way. So I really owe it to my dad. Give me that
Yeah.
idea.
How cool. What I'd never heard that before. That is really cool. I love that concept. I like how you framed it. I was a business divorce lawyer. I don't know if I've ever heard anybody put it in those terms, but what we want to talk about is yeah, that's one aspect of a law firm. It can happen and all of that, but there are so many other aspects to a law firm, and the way that you've structured your book, the law firm life cycle, you really are working with attorneys from beginning to end and everywhere in between. So why don't you let's just talk about the what is the law firm life cycle as you've seen it, as you've worked with attorneys. How would you explain that to somebody?
Sure. So, as you said, we help law firms and lawyers from start to finish. And some last longer than others. Some start and go through a lot of phases and maybe, last for a long time. Others start and finish very quickly.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but, most firms start, most lawyers do not start their firm straight out of law school. Most lawyers are either at a firm or they're at some government agency or maybe at a corporation. They are somewhere else before they start the firm. So the way the book starts and the way I usually think about it and talk others through it is, how do you leave where you are in an ethical and legal way before you go start your firm? So that's a huge issue. A lot of people step on landmines. So even before you start, you got to be thinking, am I going to start this the right way?
Yeah, that's so good, man. I've been in business for a long, long time and have counseled lots of people who are ending a career in one place and getting ready to start another one. And I always tell them, I said, dude, finish well. Make sure don't take the last 2 weeks off and just go do whatever. No, you're there, you're serving them, and that's really, really important because your name and reputation's on the line. Number one, but you don't want to burn bridges, especially in the legal world. But so starting even before you start a law firm, you need to get your hands on this book and read it and understand it. But now I'm an attorney, right? I've hung my shingle. I'm out practicing law. Oh my, I just opened up a whole Pandora's box, right? Because there's a whole lot more to it than just handling cases.
Yeah. So, as you sort of progress and as a firm grows and operates for some period of time, the issues that are there in the beginning change.
Yeah.
So, when I first started my firm, it was just me, no employees, no office.
Yeah.
It's just me and a laptop. So there's a few things that do apply in that situation that are not going to apply to the firm that's got 50 employees and 20 lawyers and all these things.
Yeah.
And so that's sort of what the book takes the reader through is, you start small and as you grow, things are going to change. And I try to give sort of advice, not advice, education as to,
Yeah.
the issues to be looking out for along the way. And also the book, it's not everything, but it's sort of
Right.
an 80-20 look at the things that may come up as you sort of grow and progress through your law firm.
Yeah. And I mean, some of those things are, agreements with employees that you bring on. How do you structure that? Or are you going to form a partnership? And what is that going to look like? Right. And so the thing I love about what you've put together here, Jonathan, is it's dare I say it's hard to find this kind of information out in your peer group, out at the bar association, even out at a lot of conferences, because well, not a lot of people do what you do. And you've got a years of experience, a lot of clients. So you've got a perspective of this law firm life cycle that is fairly unique. And to be able to leverage that with a fellow attorney to go, okay, no, I see where you're going. I see some things and be able to walk them through probably in a little bit faster way, I would guess, than them trying to slug it out on their own or ask their buddy, right?
I think so. And, one of the benefits, number one, I personally am going through the life cycle myself. So
There you go.
I am my clients.
There you go.
I relate to what they're going through. And, I have grown, it started with just me. Now we've got, 6 attorneys and, lots of employees, all these sorts of things that we're building. But also I have represented lots of firms and lots of lawyers,
Mm,
different types of firms, different sizes, different stages of growth. And so every time I represent one client, that knowledge and the things I learned there can be spread to all of my clients. And the other thing I'll say too, this book is written for lawyers and law firm owners. And sure, there is a thread of ethics, legal ethics that sort of goes through everything we lawyers do.
mhm.
But a lot of the stuff and the concepts in this book apply, I think, to any professional service firm,
Right.
whether you're an accountant, a consultant, whatever it is. I think a lot of the things that are in this book would apply to those um, owners as well.
Yeah, well, I 100% agree because, I mean, at one level, business is business, right? We're all dealing with the aspects of growth and of contractors or employees and partnerships and dissolutions and all of that, mergers and acquisitions, it all plays into that. And so anybody can benefit from reading this. And I really appreciate that because I think so many times business owners, they read books that are specifically in their industry. If you're a dentist, you're reading dental books and marketing books for dentists. And Dan Kennedy told me this years and years ago that you need to read outside of your little world and cross apply what you learn there. And so anybody and everybody listening to this entrepreneur can learn from the law firm life cycle, especially if you're an attorney. Because there are some uniquenesses to being an attorney, but again, that's going to be if you're a business owner, you're going to discern that pretty quickly. But as an attorney, you're going to be able to walk through this and deal with things like, I mean, you've got things like trust accounting and mental health issues, right? A lot of business books don't even talk about the mental, emotional aspect of running a business. And you're diving and you're talking about that because you see it with those that you've served, right?
Well, I'll tell you, for law firm owners, you sort of have the double whammy. So the stress of running the business, which is real,
Hmm.
stress of
Yeah,
making payroll, all that's cash flow, all these things. But on top of that, we represent clients, and most clients come to lawyers. They don't want to be there.
that's right.
They're,
That's right.
sometimes it's happy things. They're selling their business and they're about to get a big check. That's happy.
Yeah,
Or they're selling a piece of real estate or buying a piece, whatever. But a lot of times people come to attorneys and they don't want to be there. They may be getting a divorce. Maybe they were hit by a car and they're severely injured. Maybe one of their loved ones has been killed.
right.
Maybe one of their loved ones is in jail. It's very stressful, and lawyers put that and those problems on their back
Yeah.
often to help. And as much as we try to detach and separate from it, it's hard. I'm telling you, it's hard. Every time I get involved, and it still happens to me now, particularly in a law firm breakup. It's very
Yes.
emotional, and I take that on, and I want to help them, and it keeps me up at night, and
Yeah.
so it's a real issue, mental health.
It really is, and for good reasons, because dare I say, I don't want an attorney who doesn't care about me, right? And that shows that when you have an attorney that carries that burden, that's the kind of attorney you want. And at the same time, you're right, it's that double-edged sword of how do you deal with that? How do you keep your brains about you, your emotions about you, and realize you can do what you're skilled at, and carry that burden in a proper way. But yeah, I hadn't, most of us don't even think about the law firm breakups or the employee conflicts that can happen, um, changes of um, policies, changes in laws that can affect a firm. I mean, there's all these things that are out there that if you're an attorney and you don't have somebody like Jonathan you can reach out to, it's almost scary what kind of landmines you might be able to step into, right?
Well, I'll tell you the other thing that's interesting. The old saying, "Cobbler's kids have no shoes."
Yes.
So I see that a lot. It used to surprise me when I
Mhm.
would talk to attorneys and they've been together for 10 years and they say, no, we don't have an agreement. Uh, I'm not surprised
Wow.
anymore. Happens a
Yeah.
lot. Then there are the attorneys who, just because you're an attorney doesn't mean you know really how to draft one of these agreements. And
100%.
so a lot of them, they'll just download a form they find online and change the names and do some things. And part of what I do, again, I started out in the fights, in the
Mhm.
things that people fight about. And I would take all the lessons, and I still do those. And the lessons I learned there, we take and then put them into our agreements to help
Mhm.
avoid or minimize those in the future.
Yes.
Because now, look, people can always not adhere to the contract, but if it's there, at least you have a roadmap for,
Yeah.
hey, if something goes sideways, this is how we handle it.
That's right. Yeah. And not only getting it in writing, which is really good, but getting it in writing from an experienced person who's been there, so it's properly written. And then third, I think working with you, Jonathan, you're that third party. You were just explaining all that, and my mind went to a boxing ring, right? So you got two people slugging it out, but you got the guy in the center in the striped suit just saying, nope, 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 can't do that, nope. And you can help mitigate and guide, dare I say, sometimes warring parties to go, no, no, let's go this way. Here's what the agreement says, and bring them to a better settlement if it's head against head.
I try.
Well, it's the best you can do sometimes, right?
Sometimes there's only so much you can do, man. So,
That's right.
but you're right. Yes, I mean, I can bring to the table. Look, I've seen this before,
Yeah.
and it doesn't end well if you do X, Y, and Z. So don't go down that path.
Yeah.
So yes. Now,
Yeah.
are they going to listen to me? Sometimes they do. Sometimes they don't.
That's right. Yeah, there are always choices, but that's your role out there, is to guide and direct. You're not going to make the decisions for them, but you're going to lean upon your years and years of experience of saying, here's, I tell my kids all the time, I was like, well, you can do that if you want, but here's what I've learned. Do you want to know how I learned that? And they all just go, cause you did it. I'm like, yeah, now you're welcome to do it. And I think that's kind of where we are when we're counseling or guiding or educating people. It's like, this is the best I got. Comes with a lot of experience and a lot of clients that I've served. Let's talk about different law firms in different places. So whether they're a startup, let's say you got an attorney who's been around for, 4, 5, 6 years, they're building their firm's growing. They don't need to wait until they find a problem or something to engage with you in conversations and understand how do you work. Explain kind of, how do you work with firms and attorneys, and unpack that a little bit, because I don't want people to go, well, I'm not in a fight with somebody, I don't need Jonathan. No, 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 no. Explain a little bit more about what you all do.
So I'll give you, the lawyer answer is it depends, which is, it really does depend on where they are in the life cycle, how big they are. But I'll say this, it's always better. And this is the other thing, lawyers as a class will recommend, they will advise their own clients this. They'll say, an ounce prevention is worth a pound of cure. They say it's better if you come to me on the front end. They advise their clients
Yeah.
this all the time, but they don't take their own medicine a lot of
Yeah.
times. But that's what I would say. So no matter where you are on the journey, it really begins with your vision and where you think you want to go. And even if
Mhm.
that changes down the line,
Yeah.
I always recommend, have a vision. It's really for any business owner,
Yeah.
but then you can sort of see where you're going and you can take the steps and start building the firm and the business with that end in mind. So you don't get too far out and then say, oh, I should have done this way back when. So
Yes. Yeah.
always, no matter where they are, that's what we think about. And a common thing that comes up is succession planning. And that means a lot of different things, but basically, how are you going to exit the business?
Yeah.
Whether, you're planned on it, or maybe it's a sudden accident that happens. Most people don't think about it until right before,
Yeah.
6 months out. They're like, okay, I'm ready to be gone in 6 months. Too late. I mean,
Yes.
you can do it, but to really do it well, you're talking 3, 5, even 15 years before. You got to be
Right.
thinking about this from the beginning.
Yeah, very yeah. It's such wise counsel right there, folks. Because succession planning, whether you're going to build a firm to sell it, to transition it, to do whatever, it needs thought, it needs process, it needs systems, it needs agreements, and really, at the end of the day, Jonathan, you need somebody to bounce ideas off of. To go, hey, Jonathan, here's what I'm thinking. Am I crazy? And I'm sure sometimes the answer is, well, yeah, you actually are. Don't do that. And other times it's like, no, you can actually pull that one off, right? But having a confidant in your corner who is there, and I love this about you and your firm is you are one of them. When you're working with attorneys, I mean, you are them. You're not an outside counselor or something. You understand it inside and out and you can guide them. So it's this, I mean, the lawyer world is very much a fraternity in lots of areas, right? In lots of ways. And you have your own language, you have your own DNA. And when you can work with a peer to guide and direct your business and really protect it and protect you and your family, because I think there are a lot of things that you do to bring that protection component that I'm guessing a lot of your clients really may not even understand when they first engage with you.
That's right. And back to your point about me being them. So let's talk about a law firm breakup.
Mm-hmm.
I've represented attorneys. I've done a lot of those over the years, but I went through one myself. So way back when
Wow.
I was an associate, this is 2 firms ago. I was an associate. I'd been there for a while. I worked my way up, and before the end of the year, they said, "Congratulations, you're going to be a partner starting next year. Starting January, you're going to be a partner." I'm like, "This is great." On top of the world, the firm had its best year ever, best
Mm-hmm.
year in the history of the firm. And then January hit, and a group of lawyers left. It was like the Titanic hitting the iceberg, and it blew a hole out of the firm. And within 6 months, we all were sitting around the partnership table, and we all decided, those that were left decided we're going to shut it down. So it was crazy. It was
That's
bizarre to
nuts.
be on the inside and see the psychology and the dynamics.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd have an office, big office, and then there'd be huge swaths of it where there was no one there. It was
Yeah.
it was just
It's
eerie, and it was sad. It was weird.
Yeah, that's surreal, man, to walk around those hallways. But having gone through that gives you an entirely different perspective. And dare I say it, many times probably more empathy than somebody who's not gone through that because you've experienced the emotional aspect, you've seen the fighting back and forth or whatever. You've experienced the surrealness of an empty office and Johnny used to sit there, right? And it's like, so to bring all of that to bear, I mean, you dare I say you can't pay for that, folks. There's just that's experience that is second to none, and to walk through that as a peer to go, been here. Here's again. Here's how we're going to bring the resolution or the dissolution. Here's how you need to be dealing with the emotional aspect of that. Because I can only guess, John, that probably impacted you possibly your family, just the emotional aspect, the angst, the high hopes, the got the rug pulled out from under me. What happened? I mean, that's all real stuff that we have to deal with because you still got law to practice every day.
That's right. That's right. The world keeps moving, and you
It
got to keep
does.
moving.
Yeah. Every day, I mean, every day is showtime, and you got those clients who are bringing more burdens to you that you're serving with excellence and dealing with while you have this other thing going on over here. Why go through that alone when you've got Jonathan and his team of super competent attorneys and staff to just guide you through this process? And again, I want to make sure, Jonathan, that we're not putting a negative Debbie Downer tone on this whole thing. This needs to be flipped upside down and go, if you want to build a vibrant, thriving, strong law firm, oh my goodness, you need to be reaching out to Jonathan and allow him to help guide you. Because not only has he seen the downsides, he's seen a lot of the upsides as well. And you've got a superbly thriving law firm right now. So talk a little bit about that because I want to make sure that we're more Tiggers than Eeyores here tonight.
Yeah, that's a great point. Great point. And that is one of the cool things about my job. I mean, that I really like, and my podcast, frankly, because I get to represent and meet and learn from folks that are doing really cool stuff, really innovators in the law, both in growing their practice and the ways they're doing it. Ways that, a few years ago, like today, my podcast guest that dropped today is doing a subscription style pricing for family law litigation cases, which I have never heard of anywhere ever. And people would say it's not possible. Well, he's been doing it for a while. And so I get to, really get to see some cool stuff and learn from them and then experiment in my own firm and see what works, what doesn't, and learn from it. And, I think the growth aspect of it, and not everybody wants to be huge. So when I say growth, it doesn't necessarily mean gigantic size in terms of whatever, but growth as a lawyer, as a business owner, and it's fun to watch.
Yeah, it really is. And it goes back to what you said earlier is the vision aspect. You got to have that in place to realize that, yeah, my vision is that I'm an attorney and I work 40 hours a week. I take, 8 weeks off a year. I'm with my family. Awesome. How do we help you get there? What's that look like? Are you going to need employees? How many attorneys do you need? Right? It's all of those things that you've experienced, you've worked with people, and that's the value of having Jonathan there. Plus, I mean, you just mentioned your podcast. Jonathan talks to so many attorneys on a regular basis that he can connect you with other attorneys. He can learn from them, and I think when you're a business owner and you're growing constantly. I know you're at conferences, you're in mastermind groups, you're always being poured into, Jonathan. That's why you're such a good business owner and a great attorney. But now you can just pour that into your clients and say, let me guide you through here. And oh, by the way, have you thought about this? Have you thought about hiring this coach? Because they could really help you too, because I don't do that, right?
I was lucky we got to spend some time personally with each other last week at our friend Ben Glass's event.
Yes.
And, I really like his philosophy and his message, and it's build the firm for you, not the one that somebody else tells you to build or not the one that somebody else wants.
Right.
Decide what you want your life to be first.
Yes.
Then build the firm around it.
100%.
Love that.
Yep. And that's really, I think, Jonathan, if we got down to every attorney, I think that's what they want in their heart. And what happens is I think they get scared because they don't really know anybody else who's doing that. And may I say, you've got a guy here who's doing it in Jonathan Hawkins, and he can help you do just that. So I follow a marketing guy, Roy Williams, the Wizard of Ads, and he starts with every client relationship. He says, how do you measure success? And he's like, every client has a different answer. But once I know that answer, now I can get to work to help achieve that. And that's pretty much the conversation you're going to have with Jonathan at the very beginning. Talk just real quick as we start wrapping this thing up. What does engagement look like for an attorney with you? Is it usually a multi-year thing? Or, I mean, unless it's a breakup, right? But if it's because they continue to grow and hit different spots of the life cycle, what's it kind of look like?
So we do all the above. So
Okay.
typically, a client comes to me for one project. It's
Okay.
project driven, and it can be a variety of things. And then we do that project, and they get to know us and get to know what we do, and they usually stick around. And so I have some clients that use me a lot. We're sort of on a monthly retainer
Yeah.
style engagement. And then there's others that we're here, but they just call when they need us.
Yep.
And so it really depends, but more and more we're moving towards, we want to be the resource that they come to often
Yes.
and regularly, not, hey, I got a mess. It's you're my guy. I can talk to you all the time. That's where we want to be. And that's what we're trying to, convince our clients that's
Yeah.
in their best interest.
100%. Yeah. And without and I'm going to use legal terms here, right? Without becoming a partner in their firm, you want to be a partner with quotes right there, right? In their firm and in their personal growth, because you want to watch them grow so that when they have a team meeting or a partnership meeting, they can call you and say, hey, Jonathan, here's what we're talking about. What do you think? Here's what's on the agenda. Give me your feedback. Okay, we'll bring that to the table. Because when you have a counselor like that, I mean, we all need coaches. And you're not a legal coach, but sometimes you can serve in that capacity with how you know that law firm intimately, and you can see where they're going, and you know where the hurdles are, you know where the landmines are, but you know where the finish line is too.
That's right.
And
And I would not I would not characterize myself as a coach. I'm not a
no,
coach, but I am sort of a consultant too. I do legal work, but there
yeah,
is an aspect of what we do that is non-legal, and it's really sort of consulting.
yeah,
I don't really describe myself as a consultant, but we
right,
do a little
yeah.
of that too. So
But there's that aspect, and dare I say, and this is Michael talking, not Jonathan, but I am certain that sometimes after the when you have off the record conversations with your clients when they go, okay, can we be real? Okay, yeah, and you just have those real conversations because you guys are brothers. You're in the law, the legal world together. You see some things, and oh. I've got a few of those men in my life where I can just be real and go, okay, I just need to vent. Can I just vent? Is okay. And the clarity that brings and the relief that brings, but to know that you've got somebody in your corner who can really guide you down the process of building a law firm that's been the dream. Why do you do what you do? And when you get down to that answer to go, I love family law, or I love PI, or what? Okay, great. How do we help you build this thing? Do it right, do it well. Figure out where are you on this law firm life cycle, and it is a cycle, right? It keeps going, and there are different areas and different elevations. Let Jonathan and his team help just guide you through the law firm life cycle to have and create a law firm that supports your lifestyle. And if for some reason it goes south, he's going to be there because he's been there and he knows how to help guide and direct you there, not just in the legal aspects, but in the emotional aspects as well. Jonathan, I mean, if an attorney is out there listening to this and going, this is intriguing. How do they get like a copy of your book? How do they reach out and connect with you? What should they be doing?
well, first go to my website, lawfirmgc.com. You can find me. There's a landing page for the book. You can find my email, all that. I am very active on LinkedIn. That is probably the number one place to find me.
Okay.
If we are not connected and you send me a connection request, I will accept it if you're a lawyer. Or if you're not trying to sell me something, I'll say.
There you go.
And you can DM me there. That's a really good place to find me. Find the podcast, Founding Partner Podcast, if you're interested. Interview a lot of really impressive and very different law firm owners. It's really, really, you'll find somebody that you can relate to, at least one, probably many.
Yeah.
But yeah, LinkedIn is probably the best. If
Okay.
not, check my website out.
Awesome. I'm going to grab those links. We're going to make sure those are in the show notes so that you can easily find out more about Jonathan. Do listen to the podcast, because if you're an attorney, especially, what better way is there just to open your mind and your perspective than to hear what some attorneys are doing, understand some of their challenges, some of their successes, and start building friendships. And then who knows? Maybe you'll be on Jonathan's podcast sometime. So, Jonathan, thank you for being my guest. Thank you. And congratulations on writing the law firm life cycle. I know it's going to be a huge blessing for many. And it's always a joy to be with you, brother.
Michael, thanks for having me, and thanks for all your help. Really
You are
appreciate it.
you are quite welcome. Thanks for listening to Experts Speak. Tune in again next week for another great episode. Take care. God bless.